Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's talk about different processes to treat polluted air, but these processes do not involve microorganisms as such. These are basically absorption, adsorption, incineration, and ozonation. So let's talk about each of these strategies. First of all, let's talk about absorption. Absorption basically means to absorb something. And here what we want to do, what the aim is that we want to absorb or dissolve the toxic compounds present in the air, in the polluted air, in an appropriate solution. That solvent could be any solvent. That depends on our intention and on the contaminant present in the air that we want to absorb. So basically we want to absorb it in any liquid, and this may oxidize or neutralize the toxic compound in the process. इसके बहुत सारे outputs हो सकते हैं. For example, it depends what kind of toxic compound you have in air and which type of solvent you want to absorb that compound into. Those two may react with each other when introduced. So that the resulting compound is either a breakdown product of the original compound and the products are much less toxic, or it can also create a new compound which is also less toxic as compared to the original compound. So you can see here this possibility is there as well. Moreover, once you have absorbed any such toxic compound which was previously present in air, but now you have absorbed it in a liquid form in any solvent, now you can use this dissolved compound for further different strategies, further different approaches to detoxify this compound. For example, we can introduce this dissolved compound with certain bacteria which can destroy and detoxify this toxic compound. So once you have absorbed a compound which was previously in gas, now you have absorbed it in a liquid form. There are so many different things that you can do with this absorbed toxic compound. So there are so many different outputs which can be achieved. Adsorption, as it says, basically the adsorption on the surface of anything. So this adsorption is also used to treat polluted air. There are so many different downstream processes that can be done once you have absorbed a certain pollutant from the air onto a certain substance. For example, you can see here activated carbon is mostly used for this purpose. So what we do is that we absorb organic molecules mostly present in the air onto activated carbon. This can be tailored to give contaminant specific optimum performance. So what we do is that once we have absorbed a toxic compound present in air onto a certain substance, for example activated carbon, now we have actually kind of captured that compound. Initially that compound was present in a gaseous form in the air. Now you have captured it by adsorption. So now you can use this captured compound and you can treat it by using different technologies. For example, you can introduce this captured compound, this adsorbed compound, to different bacteria as well, different microorganisms which could act on it and detoxify it. So there's lots of things that you can do to detoxify this compound once you have adsorbed it. Incineration, obviously it means to provide high temperature or to burn something. So as the name indicates, we provide much high temperature. What is the use of providing much high temperature to polluted air? As we know, there are certain compounds which are not viable at much high temperatures. Those can be broken down. Second, as we know, there are so many chemical reactions which only operate when certain high temperatures are provided, especially when there is no catalyst available. Such reactions, they have much high energy of activation, which can be only overcome if we provide much high temperatures. If we use living organisms, there are so many different bacteria and other such cells which have many such enzymes which serve as biocatalysts to perform these reactions at much lower temperatures by lowering the energy of activation. So for example, if you have polluted air which is containing some kind of toxic compound and you are introducing some other compound in that air and you want the two compounds to react with each other, you may have to provide much high temperature so that the two compounds can react with each other, thus making a product which is much less toxic. But again, it depends on the nature of the compounds and the nature of the of the reaction which is being operated. So based on all these possibilities, you can have different outcomes. As you can see, we have to provide much high temperature, so energy requirements are there. So obviously, if you're providing high temperature, you have to have a much more sophisticated and controlled environment and bioreactor. So you can see it is much more costly. Ozonation. We know what ozone is, but ozone can also be used for different technological purposes as well. It has so many different applications in different fields of technology as well. As you can see here, use of oxygen is there to oxidize some contaminants like hydrogen sulfide. ओजोन यूज़ की जाती है और इसको यूज़ किया जाता है टू ट्रीट डिफरेंट टॉक्सिक कंपाउंड्स. ये रिएक्ट करती है डिफरेंट टॉक्सिक कंपाउंड्स के साथ, और जो रिएक्शन के बाद जो प्रोडक्ट बनती है वो बहुत कम टॉक्सिक होती है या बिल्कुल टॉक्सिक नहीं होती. सो स्पेशली यू कैन सी हियर दैट ओजोन इज बीइंग यूज्ड टू ट्रीट टू ऑक्सीडाइज हाइड्रोजन सल्फाइड. When ozone reacts with hydrogen sulfide under certain conditions and parameters, there occurs a series of reactions which leads to the oxidation of hydrogen sulfide ultimately to sulfates. So you can see here the ozone can be used to treat different compounds, especially hydrogen sulfide, but again the overall reaction and the process is very costly, because ozone has to be contained, and so should be hydrogen sulfide. So a proper reactor should be there, and a control process should be operated, which increases the cost. I will see you in next lessons.